This is the Business Growth Hacks Podcast, presented by Beefy Marketing. Here's your host, Andrew Brockenbush.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What up, John?
You know, last day of the year, getting a podcast in, excited.
That's right. And when you're listening to this, it'll be the
new year.
It'll be the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to the new year. It's like this is, we're actually recording in the future.
Right.
Or we're actually recording in the
past.
I don't know.
That's how everything's recorded, Andrew.
Yeah. It feels extra fancy because,
today. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, hey, today we're talking a little bit about a platform that we call WordPress. And we don't call it.
Yeah.
Everybody calls it. It's called
That's
WordPress.
what it's called.
It's called WordPress. And it is like the largest platform for building websites. So we're going to be talking about website talk today.
Yeah.
So I had a question for you.
Okay.
What are your top 3 favorite websites?
Sweetwater.
What's Sweetwater for those that don't know?
I guess I should explain.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Okay. So Sweetwater, it's a music gear, content creator gear website. It has, everything from podcasting gear, just a little bit of video equipment, music instruments is probably my biggest interest in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spend the most time looking at recording stuff, studio stuff,
Yeah, Sweetwater. Nice.
Sweetwater.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites. Definitely the most viewed. YouTube would have to be second favorite, or maybe even just mention second,
Yeah.
Because YouTube, who doesn't watch YouTube? What do you want to learn? It's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess my next one would be HEB.
HEB.
That one I do need to explain for our friends outside of Texas.
Yeah, please.
They will not know what HEB is. So HEB is a grocery store, and I just really like their website because you can clip coupons on it. You can clip them. It says clip, and then it has a little scissor thing. And
it makes it so easy to just save money.
It's kind of fun, and it's also practical and functional. So, I think that's why I like it the best. Plus that curbside.
Is it a pretty good user experience, you'd say, the way they built their website?
I was kind of against the whole curbside thing. How lazy do you have to be to not put your stuff in a cart?
Yeah.
But then time and, working so much, it's like, man, I don't have time to go to the store today. Let me just place a little order and pick it up on my way home. And the first time I ever did it, it was so easy.
You're like, okay, dang it.
It's like, oh, man.
I'm going to be that guy.
Now I'm that guy. I'm the lazy one that won't go pick my stuff up at the store. But, there's other reasons for using it now, too. It's a time saver. Also, if you don't want to come in contact with people right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My top 3 favorite, one of ours is the same, which is YouTube.
Of course.
I spend a ton of time on YouTube.
Dude.
Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4...
Are you counting open tabs?
At least 4 open YouTube tabs. That does not count my overall open tabs, which is probably well over 30.
That's funny.
4 to 5 of these tabs are just YouTube videos that I want to watch later on.
Right.
It's so funny. YouTube's got like that watch later feature.
But I don't use it.
I don't use it. I just open up a new tab. Yeah. I'm going to watch that next and that next. YouTube's great because, like you said, you can kind of learn anything you want on there. Yeah. But it's also, to some extent, maybe like an escape from reality sometimes.
Well, yeah, because there's not just learning stuff on it. There's entertainment.
I love watching the channels where they go out and survive wilderness, camping type stuff for a week. Yeah. A week off grid camping, or
they'll cook what they got.
Yeah, exactly, on a rock or whatever. I don't know. That kind of stuff's cool, and it's also a great place to get reviews on products that you're thinking about buying.
Absolutely.
Nothing better than an open box video or
an open box,
a review video. I know it sounds really random, but I was watching a Netflix documentary all about cooking, and they were making a lot of pizza, and so now I've been brainwashed that I want to get a pizza oven, and so for the last week I've watched nothing but pizza oven review videos on YouTube. So now I'm getting served nothing but pizza oven ads everywhere I go. Of course. My second favorite will probably be Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Amazon, kind of like for the HEB for you, the convenience factor of Amazon and how Amazon's changed the buying experience.
And their delivery is pretty on point.
Oh yeah, and it's typically free. It's quick.
Yeah, especially if you have Prime.
Here's something to kind of consider. So yesterday and today are kind of the last days of the year, and so with that being said, one of the big things that business owners tend to do is kind of spend that last bit of money that they want to spend to kind of reduce your overall taxable income.
Right.
And so now within reason, right? Like you don't want to go spend it on stuff that you don't need. Like the better to keep money in the bank than to spend it on nonsense.
Right.
But it's a good time to kind of evaluate like, hey, is there any last minute inventory we need to buy? Like we talked about in one of our last episodes.
Yep.
Is there any equipment that we're going to need for the new year? Because if so, let's get it now. And so in the past, 5-6 years ago, had it been the end of the year and I needed to go buy a bunch of stuff for the end of the year, I would have had to drive all over town looking for the things that I needed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Fry's or Micro Center, do they have this hard drive I need?
Especially with tech stuff, because some of it is so specified you can't get
exactly.
it. Exactly.
And if you hadn't been able to find it, you wouldn't have been able to spend that money. No. Which I know that sounds silly, but like it's kind of important.
I see what you're saying in this respect. Yeah, because if you had to take the time to run all over getting all that stuff, in the next 2 days, it might not be possible to get all that done. Yeah.
And if you want to get that money out of the business before the end of the year, then you got to make it happen. And so for me, that's where Amazon's really kind of saved the day over the last few days. Yeah. It was like, okay, we need one new desk. We need a new backup system for our entire content library. We needed a power supply system, like all these little things that we needed. It was like, let's get them now. Well, because of Amazon, I was able to buy it all yesterday.
Exactly.
And it'll be here like Tuesday of next week. It's like,
and the other cool thing about Amazon with us is you don't always necessarily know what I want or need, but I can just send you a link. And then you can price that out.
Exactly. So you sent me, excuse me.
Yeah, there you go.
You sent me yesterday a link for a teleprompter. And I was like, sweet, let me just add it to the cart. And so today will be my last day of final end of the year purchases. And so I don't know, Amazon's cool. Chase is my last one. Chase Bank, obviously for obvious reasons,
right? Well, honestly, who wouldn't survive without a banking?
Exactly. And obviously there's an app as well, but the website has actually been really helpful, because two big features of Chase that have been great for me, and I would say probably any online bank, has been the ability to do like depositing of checks remotely.
Yes,
which is massive.
Is so big, because I've had before with a bank that's not near me.
Yeah,
we live in the greater Houston area, and I'd have to drive to the other side of Houston to cash a check. Or deposit.
And it's like being able to just do that from your browser or your phone or whatever. That's really convenient. The other thing I've been able to use Chase for lately is, honestly, this is something that's like a new development, I guess, is 3 months ago, whenever I had to pay bills, I was writing checks.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't writing checks was the problem. Because that's not like it's not a part of my DNA. Like I don't like to write checks.
Yeah.
And so it was
not
like
digital.
Somebody's calling me, like 4 months after a bill's due, and they're like, hey dude, like why aren't you going to pay us? And I'm like, well, can you just let me pay online? Like it should be easier. Well, they won't.
You don't need to bring ink and paper into this.
Making me write mail, send mail. So long story short, Chase has got an online bill pay.
Yeah.
And so I've actually been able to set up all of my payees or my vendors or whatever in there. And now if I need to write a check, I just go in there, put the amount, press send, and they do all the work of mailing a check and all that. So that's been
really nice.
Very, very convenient. So let's talk about websites.
Alrighty.
Let's start with one of our favorite billion stats.
1 billion.
According to Internet Live Stats, there are 1.6 billion websites online, and that number continues to go up. Yeah.
I would imagine at the time of us even saying this that it's probably more than that.
This is like the national debt calculator.
Right. It's probably 1.8, 1.9.
Yeah, exactly. It
could be at 2. Who knows? Yeah.
It's kind of like podcasts. We looked at those stats a while back, and it's just like, people are creating websites literally right now while we're talking.
And podcasts too. And the funny thing about them is they don't all make it.
Yeah. So weird. I want to talk about the fact that when it comes to building a website, it does not have to be hard.
Yeah.
Especially like so many people have like creative ideas, new businesses, or maybe a content marketing blog, whatever it is. And back in the day, if you wanted something to be able to put that information out there, you had to be like a kind of a nerd, like a coding genius. You had to know some technical stuff, or you had to pay a web design company or web developer. The cool thing is now 43% of the web is built on WordPress.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I should go into this yet, but it was a thought I had. we were talking about social not too long ago, social trends you should know, and we talked about kind of the origins that we saw as social grew up and all that.
Yeah.
Seeing WordPress come out is another one of those innovations that I think was kind of spurred off of that need or want for social media aspects on your website.
And the ability to DIY, like do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like there was this big shift of like, if you wanted a website, you had to be that technical person.
It also brought blogging to the forefront.
Yeah.
And if you were starting a blog on, your favorite recipes, you didn't want to dump $1,000 into that. Dollars into a website.
You were just trying to do it. It's like journaling. You wouldn't spend that much on a journal.
No,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so the other big shift there, and I think some of this stuff we all know about, but we should kind of, quickly touch on with the kind of shift of the need of a website.
Yeah.
You don't use phone books to find companies anymore.
No.
Websites aren't as hard to make anymore.
The phone book's online now.
That's right. It's online. With WordPress, you have the ability to keep your website constantly up to date. So you can use that platform to do it yourself. A lot of people are out there like, I don't know how to code. I don't know how to build a website. The cool thing about WordPress is you don't have to be a genius to get it done.
Yeah, you don't have to be the tech wizard to run your own website anymore. Tech wizards at WordPress have gone before you and built the framework that you'll need.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing about websites too is like for a long time, even I'd say even in the beginning of WordPress days and all that, it was a challenge to keep it up to date, right?
Yes.
And that's not a problem anymore.
No.
You can access it on the internet. It's a browser-based platform that you can use anywhere.
Because, you used to have to go and download it and then upload it everywhere, but now you can do it from within the website.
That's right. So let's, back up for just a second.
Yeah.
So the reason we're talking about WordPress today is because it does power 40% plus of the websites online, right? It is the behemoth, what we call a content management system, a CMS.
Yeah.
Okay. And the cool thing about WordPress, there's actually two versions of WordPress. Many people don't know this. There's a WordPress.com and a WordPress.org. One of them is a subscription service that you pay to have just kind of a blog.
Right.
And the other one is an open source platform, which is a piece of software that can be installed into a server, which sounds really technical, but I promise you it's not anymore because there's like one-click install
drag and
buttons.
drop.
It's very easy. But you install this platform and it allows you to kind of tap into the vast library of resources that exist for WordPress. That exists. Those things are templates, themes, drag and drop visual builders, plugins. And when we talk about plugins, we'll kind of talk about all this in more depth. But all of these things make it really easy to get started with building a website. I would venture to guess that any hosting company, any domain registrar, GoDaddy being the top one, all of these people, when you sign up, you can literally sign up for a WordPress starter package.
Right, yeah.
And they will literally install WordPress for you.
Yep.
They'll tell you what your username and password is. You log in, and you're into that ecosystem.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
And,
and it's not hard as it used to be.
No.
Right?
No, it's very streamlined. You can have literally no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Follow the step-by-step guides and be ready to go.
So I'd say the greatest thing about WordPress is everything is customizable.
Absolutely.
From the page layout to the color scheme, your logo, any type of functionality. Like, do you want a membership plugin? Do you want e-commerce? Do you want social media sharing? Do you want pop-ups? Do you want forms? If you can think about something that's a functionality that you've seen on another website, there's likely a plugin for WordPress that can do that, right? Calendars, forms, e-com, appointment booking, security, speed, all of these things, right? The cool thing about the customization factor is just the fact that no matter what you're trying to accomplish, you're a bakery, you're a doctor's office, you're a medical spa, you're a blogger,
whoever,
doesn't matter. There's a theme likely
for you,
for your business, your industry, and it's as simple as pressing install and then just kind of filling in the blanks.
Right.
What's your business name? Put your upload your logo. Choose the colors you want. It's that easy.
Then plug in your text. Yeah.
The other thing that's great about WordPress is obviously it's grown and it's gotten better over the years, but like the user experience and the user design of WordPress is pretty intuitive.
Yeah. It really is.
If you log in to the WordPress dashboard is what we call it. When you log in, everything is laid out in a way that as long as you just kind of read it, it'll tell you exactly where everything's at. You've got your settings.
If you've ever used a website or been to a website before, you'll be able to navigate
this
menu.
website. Yeah, exactly. It's your pages, which are, about us, services, contact us, that kind of thing. You've got what's called posts.
Yep.
Posts are, actually that rolls into one of our topics today, which is that there's a built-in blogging functionality.
Right, yeah.
Right? And obviously we know the importance of content. We've talked about it only 1,000 times on this podcast.
Maybe billions.
So those are called posts. You've got settings, and that's pretty much the kind of overall layout of WordPress.
That's it,
right?
Yeah.
The cool thing about the blogs being built in is we know how important blogs are to driving organic traffic, right? And the fact that you don't have to know another platform or know another software.
You can post on Facebook. You can create posts in a WordPress blog.
That's right. You can add a blog. It literally is no joke. I'm kind of walking you guys through if you've never used WordPress. You go to the back end. On the left-hand side, it says posts. And right under that, it says add new. You press add new. There's a section for a title.
Yep.
There's a section for the content.
Yep.
And there's a section for a featured image.
Yep.
And there's a big blue button on the right that says publish.
Post. Yep.
Publish.
That's right.
And once you press it, that's it. It's live out there.
Right. Yeah.
So really intuitive. The fact that that's built in. You can set up recent posts. You can set up your featured images. You can set up RSS and email subscriptions so people can subscribe to your blog. All of that functionality is built into WordPress out of the gate.
Yeah, you don't have to spend time reinventing the wheel. These guys took the framework that you'll need to make it function. You just have to make it look.
That's right.
Yeah.
The other thing is, there was this, I don't know if I'm sure you do. There was this big weird shift in the internet where there used to be websites that were not responsive. They were not mobile friendly.
No.
And so if you wanted your website to be available on mobile, you had to build a mobile app.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't an option. There was not responsive design at the time.
No, the coding wasn't there.
There used to be, sometimes, you probably remember this, but at the very bottom of a website, it would say view mobile version, and you have to click on it.
Click on it and go to something
totally different platform.
Well, you used to have to build.
Instead
of response, you were building 2, 3, 4, 5 websites, depending on how many devices your people registered in.
Exactly.
You wanted to cater to your audience.
Yeah, which is just, it
would get ridiculous.
Some
of the things that we were doing back in. And it was funny to watch the internet just kind of blow up and grow. Yeah. And then we kind of got to a point where we figured out how to make websites work. We figured out what they kind of need generally. And then these guys were like, let's put it out there open source for everybody. And it blew up.
And I think, honestly, that's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of WordPress, honestly, is the fact that it is open source. If you've never heard that language, it basically just means that it's available for anybody out there in the world to contribute to.
Yeah.
Right? They still have testing protocols, and they, make sure that things work and that everyone believes that it's good, and there's betas and all that. But as a community, anyone can actually contribute to the working code of WordPress as a platform.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what allowed us to see such a growth in website functionality.
Because it wasn't one web designer building a website. It was the entire world working together to build a framework.
That's right. And it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just one company who's saying, we control what and how a website has to be built. It's like, no, there's guys all over the world, like you said, who are thinking, we could do this differently. Yeah. Watch this. And then somebody else going, oh, let me add to that.
Yeah. And then someone else went, you know what? I can manipulate this blog and make it look like this. And so I'll just create a plugin that does that. And then you've got companies that exist that just make plugins.
That's right, man. Isn't that part always kind of makes me excited? It's kind of like the whole Apple ecosystem, how before the iPhone, there were no jobs for iPhone app developers.
No. It was something that blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so I think that part is it's kind of cool. Same thing with WordPress. Like you said, there are whole companies that exist purely to either build plugins
for something that somebody put up for free on the internet.
Yeah. And now there's people that are probably millionaires from
content is king.
That's so funny. Yeah. So we talk about mobile, but WordPress natively is responsive. It's built with responsive design. And the nice thing about that is being that over 60% of the internet is kind of transacted from your phone, it's important that your website is mobile friendly and responsive. And so the system is responsive, which means out of the gate you install that theme, and you can be confident knowing that people are able to access your website on any device in a way that looks good. It looks professional.
Well, yeah, because now there's so many different tablets and phones and can you imagine if we had the old school way right now,
dude?
How much work it would be to create?
I don't know if I'd want to do this job as a living, because I mean, I started just like you. I mean, I think I started in Dreamweaver, and you started in something even
Live, which is before they bought Dreamweaver. Yeah.
So that's just so it's funny how like we're kind of dating ourselves, but like I remember how much of a pain in the ass it was to build a website using Dreamweaver. Don't get me wrong, it was kind of fun.
It had some really cool perks
because when you're a nerd, it's cool regardless. But I imagine now, I imagine just in the last 4 to 5 years, like how we used to build websites 5 years ago to how we build websites now.
It's completely different.
Totally different. It's just continuing to evolve.
I know. It's crazy to see this entire thing evolve since I've been in high school and just watch this entire thing kind of come to where it is now.
One of the biggest shifts for our company when it came to websites was specifically, as it pertains to customization, was that when we built a site for a client, we always had the things that were customizable by the client, and then there was the things that were customizable by our developers.
Yes.
So like I always knew that if you wanted to change anything in the header or the footer, don't touch those. That's the developer's job.
Right.
Like don't screw that up.
I can break the site
it will really screw things up. Client, you can change this photo, this text, and that is all.
Right.
Oh, you want to add something up in that header? Well, that's going to take some time. We're going to have to figure that out. Versus now, the last, I'd say 2 years, I can now control every aspect of your site, header, footer, and I'm not a developer. I would say that I could walk in someone off the street and give me an hour and I could teach them how to build a website and they could control their header and footer.
I guarantee you
Which
could.
That sounds... it's like, oh yeah, of course, it's your header and footer, but like back 2 years ago, that was not a thing. Like you could not do that without being a coder.
No, I remember what I was doing was getting like the source files, the WordPress source files, and I had to be careful when I updated because it break everything.
That's right.
I was going in there and
there was definitely a time
code in the PHP.
You did not want to press update.
No.
All these websites, WordPress is built with SEO in mind. So we have a whole episode about SEO. You should definitely check that out. But SEO stands for search engine optimization, basically making sure that your website is appealing to the internet.
Right.
And when I say the internet, I mean like the internet.
Like
Google, Yahoo, the code, all the things that make the internet be able to discover your website for other people to see.
Right.
This is what's going to get you more organic traffic without having to pay Mark Zuckerberg or whoever else for those paid ads.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've built and optimized their sites with SEO in mind is really important.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there are website building companies out there. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to just go with insert web builder company name.
.com,
and they can't control that stuff. It's stuff that is controlled at the high level, top level by the maker of the software. And they don't want you touching it.
Man, trying to explain to people, I'm sorry, it's a phone call into Google. I'm on a waiting list.
Yeah.
They'll call me back when they call me back. I'm trying. Yeah.
So with WordPress, you can know that you can log into a page, set up your sitemaps, set up Google Analytics, set up your Google Webmaster Tools, all these things.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to help the website get indexed and cached and all that fun stuff to make sure your website's being discovered on the internet by the people you're trying to attract is really important. And to know that you can do it out of the box without having to have anything extra, that's important.
It really is because, man, especially getting into doing something yourself, you don't know those unexpected purchases or, you know what I mean, those unexpected things that might pop up.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it works out of the box without having to do anything else, that's fantastic.
Yeah. The other thing about WordPress is you're in control.
Yes.
There's been so many times over the years that if there's a single person you're kind of relying on to be the person to make updates or things like that for your organization, it can cause delays.
Well, yeah, because people have stuff pop up or they may not be in and you have to wait till Monday to get that changed, and really we need it done today. So you kind of need more than one person that's able to make changes.
That's right. And with a WordPress website, you're in control of everything, meaning you can create new users to help you with that. You can control all the admin access. So, okay, I'm going to give this person the ability to add blog posts, but not touch pages.
Right. That way they can't break it.
That's right. That's exactly right. You don't have to worry about unauthorized changes to the site because you're controlling who your users are. So, for obviously, we're a marketing agency. We build a lot of websites, and you might be saying, why are you telling me how to do it myself whenever you do this for a living? Well, the fact is, WordPress is a platform that is easy to hand off to a partner like a marketing agency, right? The cool thing is, and honestly, vice versa too. When we build a new website for a client, and the client says, well, hey, can I make changes too? Absolutely. You have our team. We have a whole dedicated team at Beefy that all they do is website updates and support requests. So you're not counting on one person, you're counting on our entire team who are never going to let you down. But if you want to be able to make changes on your own too, you can. That's fine.
And honestly, for some things, you should, because sending an email to someone with a picture to say, hey, post this with this text is just as fast as creating the post yourself.
That's exactly right. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But you can if you want to do it.
Totally.
I'd say the things that our clients end up having us do and the things that they do are a little different, right? Like when they want to see design changes, layout changes, more complex tasks, they put it on us. But when they want to do something like adding a blog post or adding a photo to the gallery or adding a new team member, that might be something they feel comfortable doing.
Exactly.
So the great thing about WordPress is it's a platform that I'd say most marketing agencies, web design agencies, they play well with that, right?
If you're a professional web design company and do not know how to work a WordPress set,
exactly.
I'd be wary of that company.
Yeah, because I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of big platforms out there, but I mean, WordPress though, like it almost powers more than 40-50% of the internet. Like you better know how to control WordPress site.
Especially for a starter website. You're just starting a company out. It is such a great platform to get in because of the usability, because it's easy to install, and because it is free open source. You know?
And then I want to go back to the plugins thing because we kind of skimmed over that. But like with WordPress, there are, I'm going to just Google it right quick.
How many
plugins are on WordPress?
So I know that there's dedicated WordPress plugins provided by WordPress, but then there's countless other developers out there that make plugins.
It says there are more than 54,000 free WordPress plugins, and that was written in 2019. So that was 2 years ago. So I'm sure that number's well over 100,000.
Yeah,
and that was just free plugins,
right? None of the paid
stuff.
Well, and every paid one has a free version.
That's right.
To give you a taste.
Yeah.
So you can't have those functions unless you pay for it.
So I would venture to say there are hundreds of thousands, if not more, WordPress
might
plugins.
Be getting into the millions,
right? Which is just insane because from a functionality standpoint, I've rarely, I should say, come across a client who's come to me and said, "Can we do this thing on WordPress?" And I've had to say no. It's been such a rare occasion because there's a plugin for it. Again, membership portals.
You're gonna need something super specific.
Yeah,
and then it would be designing your own database.
That's right.
Point. Yeah.
And that's fine.
That's a different kind of build.
And there are different, don't get me wrong, like WordPress is amazing and it is our platform of choice here at Beefy, and it is the platform that I would recommend to any business owner that's wanting to build their own website. And there are, don't get me wrong, there are great website builders out there. Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, they're great. But I will say WordPress is going to give you the most long-term success.
Yeah.
Right? Because I see people build them on those smaller sites and they're kind of limited to what you're allowed to change.
Right. That's what I was saying a minute ago, a good starter site, because you can scale a WordPress site up to something else. And you also have the database. So even if you were to rebuild a WordPress site, you still have your data, all the data you can incorporate. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why people are like, gosh, I start on a smaller platform and then go to WordPress. And it's like,
kind of depends on your budget.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. But I'd say try to start on WordPress if you're comfortable starting on WordPress, which I think you should be able to figure it out. Actually, little tip here. I'm actually going to create a YouTube video in the next few weeks that I'll put out, and I'll make sure that we update the show notes
and put the link
to make sure that there's a link to that YouTube video where I'm going to walk through how to build a WordPress site from scratch.
I was thinking that might be a good one.
So I'm definitely going to do that. So that will be a resource out there for you guys. But I would say if you can start on WordPress because it will give you the long-term ability to scale that site to however big you need it. You know, I've had clients with me who've started with a 1-page WordPress site, and now they're full out 50-page sites that are fully functional. You know, it just depends on what you're looking for.
And what you're trying to do, really.
Yeah. At the end of the day, WordPress was built for an easy user experience.
Absolutely.
It's organized. It's intuitive. Even if you're unfamiliar with website management, you can navigate through the back end.
Oh, yeah.
You can get your work done without struggling through their content management system, which I'll tell you, I have used other WordPress site or website builders.
Content management. Oh, yeah.
They're not as easy.
Man, there's especially some of those like e-commerce ones.
Yeah, the real proprietary.
Right.
Yeah.
It can be very confusing in how to make stuff customizable. You can, but it's not as easy.
Yeah, exactly. So let's jump into our business growth hack of the day.
All right.
So the first, I've actually wanted to talk about a few of our favorite WordPress/website resources. You pulled some together.
Yeah, I have a few here that I think would help some people trying to start.
Yeah, dude, some of the ones you showed me this morning, even I was pretty impressed by.
You were pretty impressed, yeah.
So I think I'm going to start, though, with Elementor.
Okay.
Elementor is a drag and drop visual editor for WordPress. So what do I mean by that? WordPress, the way it works is you can add pages, you can add a theme. The theme is what kind of gives it, it's kind of like putting a nice outfit on the website. It gives it the design, the style, all the look and feel.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right? The challenge, though, is without the theme, you would have to be a developer. You would have to know, okay, how do I add the CSS and all that code to make it look pretty without that theme. Elementor actually has made it easy to visually drag and drop all the elements and all the design things you want to make the site look like anything you want it. So when you add a new page, you can drag in your photos, you can drag in your colors, you can drag in videos and gradients and all kinds of other cool functionalities to make the site look good. So if you want to level up WordPress and make WordPress 10 times easier to use than it already is, Elementor is the best plug-in to do that. And the cool thing about Elementor is there's a free and paid version, like we talked about. There's always free and paid. Free is going to give you a lot of great functionality, and paid will just level that up. So definitely would check out Elementor. John, what do you got?
I got this thing called udraw.co, and what it is just open source illustrations. You can use them for your presentations here. I'm going to pull it up in the video version, and so we can see it here.
Boom.
And so, you see here there's a software engineer, setup wizard, and these are just different, animations with that description of what that is. And they're just illustrations with very small file size. You can get SVG or PNG files. And that's great. You can use them to create presentations or to use in your website as infographic type things. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, to kind of just talk about that for just a second, when you put animations and videos and photos on a website, sometimes if you're not careful about how you compress them, they can really take the load time of the website and slow it down.
Yeah, and I think roughly 7% of people will leave a site based on how
how fast it loads. And so, and that's another thing about just speed of a website is it greatly affects your overall SEO kind of abilities.
Yeah, because if people are waiting to load and then bouncing, that's all affecting.
It's all affecting your SEO. So the cool thing about these illustrations that John's talking about right now, and he showed for those of you watching on YouTube, are these files are all designed and optimized specifically to be super small file sizes that are not going to affect the load speeds of your website.
Correct.
What else we got, John?
UIgradients.com. Now, this one was really cool to me because I'm going to pull it up here. You can roll through and it'll just show you different gradients. This one's cool blue. This one's called Megatron. It kind of looks like sunshiny. This one's called Moonlit Asteroid, and it's kind of just like a bunch of grays. And this one's a rainbow. But if you go up here to this button, it says Get CSS and copy the code. So you can copy the CSS to create these gradients as backgrounds on your website.
That's so cool.
Pretty fantastic right there.
Yeah, and again, for those of you that are listening, the reason why that's important is the fact that a lot of times in design, we think about the different colored sections as solid, typically only solid, like, it's either a white background or a black background or a gray background, which doesn't add a lot of depth.
No, it doesn't. But even just taking a white to an off-white,
that's right, it starts to create some character, right? And some depth to the site. And so gradients really will add a lot.
Yeah. Things that we look at with our eye and nature, they're never one consistent color.
That's exactly right.
And so adding a little bit of breakup in there actually makes it look more natural to us.
Yeah. So what's cool about this site, like John said, there is a button that says Get CSS. So for those of you that are like more on the tech side, that makes it really easy. But there's also at the top of the page, when you click on any of the gradients you like, it actually will show you the hex values, which are the color values for the colors. So if you use a plugin like Elementor, there's actually the ability to add gradient backgrounds. And when you do that, it'll ask you for the 2 different hex colors that you want your gradient to be.
You could use this as a tool to get your 2 colors. Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. Like a lot of times I'm like, ooh, I want to add a gradient section, but I'm like, what colors do I use? Yeah. Well, this site makes it really easy. I don't know if you press the shift key, but if you press the shift key while you're on this website, it pulls up a ton.
Are you serious?
Of different gradient
that's pretty awesome.
Concepts. So that's a really cool website. What's the last one we got for him, John?
The last one I got here is called Color Hunt, and it's a hand-picked color palette. So if you have no idea about color theory or anything like that, you can go to this website. You say you got an orange in your logo, you can go find a color palette that's got oranges and greens and yellows in it, to give yourself a nice continuous color palette that looks really good.
Yeah, I love this site for a lot of reasons, whether you're using it for your website design. Maybe you're saying, oh, okay, well, we're a medical spa. What are some colors that make me feel, calm and relaxed and peaceful? There's a bunch of colors here, and the cool thing is it's not just saying, oh, just use blue. It's like, I know blue is a calming color. Show me the other colors that go with that: the gold, the yellow, the off blue, the dark blue.
Right, because that's what we don't know.
Yeah, what are those contrasting colors?
I know what color I like. I don't know what color to put with
it. That's right. So this site's great for that. But in addition, you could even use this if you're using a platform like free tool like Canva to design your business cards, your letterhead, whatever. This is a great way to just get that color creativity that you might need to spark your design idea.
Exactly.
Freaking love that, John.
Yeah, these were some good ones.
These are some really good ones. So with all these benefits of WordPress websites, you can boost your online reach, you can attract new customers, you can customize your website exactly how you want it, strengthen your SEO, and you're going to watch your site visitor numbers climb because you can do it without having to be some high-level tech guy.
Yeah, you don't have to know everything, but, Tillman Fertitta said this when I saw him as a keynote speaker one time. If you don't know who that is, he owns Landry's. And,
it's kind of a big deal.
He said, know what you know and know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And in this case, knowing that you're not a coder gives you really good reason to lean on these people who are.
That's right. And use a platform like WordPress that just makes it a lot easier to do it yourself. If you do need help with your website, shameless plug.
Oh, yeah.
BeefyMarketing.com. We build websites. We manage them. We help you with your SEO. We help you with your social media. We help you produce podcasts. Produce podcasts.
Yeah, it was real. Like
anything you need when it comes to your marketing, that's what Beefy Marketing is here for. This podcast is one of the great free resources that we put out every single week to support our customers, to generate ideas, to what we call business growth hacks, things that are going to help you grow your business. Thank you guys for listening to another episode. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
See you next week.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Business Growth Hacks Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. To get more marketing tips and tricks, follow Beefy Marketing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Beefy Marketing. And to take your business to the next level, check out our website at www.beefymarketing.com.